All right, everyone, here we are. We are in week 3 of interpersonal communication. Last week, we looked at 2 opposing sides of the interpersonal communication model, right? First of all, we looked at identity formation and how communication is important for forming our own identity. And then we also looked at perception of other people's communication to us and how we categorize that and organize that in our own heads, okay? And fundamentally make meaning from that, okay? This week, we look deeper into that by looking at language itself. Language as a symbolic system that is involved in the construction of meaning, right? Think about humans as symbol makers. We fundamentally communicate with the use of symbols. And all that implies, it has fundamental implications for how we communicate. Okay? It's not just about transmitting data necessarily, although that is part of it. Okay? We're transmitting information, but we're using symbols to do it. And that has deep implications for human communication. Another thing about symbols that's very interesting in relation to culture is that symbols are fundamentally shared. They depend on a mutual understanding of what those symbols mean. Okay? For instance, the word for sky doesn't look anything like the sky. It's just a set of symbols. Okay? It only means sky because we all agree that that's what it means. Okay? Here's another example I like to give to students. Say I'm an alien who has landed on Earth for the first time. I'm anxious to communicate. Okay? And I see this sign. Okay? Now I would have no idea what that sign meant. We all know what that means because it is deeply embedded in the sign systems of our culture. We all have a shared understanding of what this sign means. Okay? It's also a branding sign, which is interesting to think about how branding affects the sign systems in our culture. Okay? That's a topic for another course. But think about that perspective from somebody outside our culture coming in, say from outer space or something. Okay? And they would have no reference. They would have no idea what that symbol meant because they don't share the same culture. So symbols in language are fundamentally embedded in our understanding of culture and how culture works, right? So be thinking about that as you go through this week. There is no critical thinking assignment this week. You do have something to turn in for your portfolio. It's a portfolio milestone. And really you're starting your research. You're going to provide a peer-reviewed journal article. Take some time to do this. Make sure that you're looking in the library course guides right here in your course on the left-hand side. Click into there. In the best bet databases, there's already a set of databases that we recommend you start with in terms of the topic for the course. But also take the time to look at some of the other resources in the library course guide. There is a you can go right here to find all of the other databases that are available. Search through that. Again, take time to do this week. The time that you would have taken for a critical thinking assignment, take the time to do the research because you want to do the research first. Don't start your project until you've done the research. All right? Always lead with your research. Okay? It'll make it much easier to complete your project. Okay? In the discussion this week, it should be fairly fun. All right? It's about how technology can or cannot replace face-to-face communication. Draw on all your experiences with social media to answer that question and be creative. Okay? Once again, get back to me if you have any questions about anything this week. I can be available to help you out, especially with your portfolio milestone or for looking for peer-reviewed articles. All right? Again, have a very productive week.